Thanks for joining me again today for another edition of my video series. My name is John Anderson, aka That Franchise Guy, and you can find me at ThatFranchiseGuy.com. Today, I'm really excited. I'm always excited, but today I'm especially excited to have Nick and Gavri with me. Nick Lopez and Gavri Grossman from Lime Painting. And just real quick before I have you guys introduce yourselves, I have to say, I recently had the pleasure of joining them in person in Denver to go through the whole Lime experience face to face, and that's what led to this today. So I'm really excited, to help share their story and help you all learn a little bit more about the business opportunity that I see with Lime. So with that, Nick, why don't you go first, and then you can introduce Gavri.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us. And yes, it was a ton of fun having you in Denver, and that's actually where I'm from. So, born and raised in Denver. Never thought that I would found a company called Lime Painting, but I was out-of-state student. I went to college at Michigan State. This was way back in 2008. And I wrestled my freshman year, and a scholarship was a couple years out. So I started a painting company to pay my way through school. It was called Spartan College Painters. And, I had essentially maxed out all my credit cards. And, it was really, when you barely have 2,200 cents, right? That is... it's a lot of money, and I received a $2,200 tuition bill, and that was a turning point for me because it was reality. I didn't have near the funds to cover that, and let alone room and board and books and everything else. So I made the tough decision. I hung up the wrestling shoes and started this company called Spartan College Painters. I looked at the bigger the home, the bigger the college bills it would help me pay. And that's really how I stumbled on this high-end sector, greatly underserved. And I got into my business degree, learned about positioning, and it was clear that, hey, this clientele that is used to paying more to get more just doesn't have that option in the paint space. And I was 18, 19 and was competing against national companies and local high-end companies, but yet they were choosing me, and they were thanking me for very basic things like showing up, answering my phone, doing a good job. And you start learning about competitive advantage in business class, and at least for me, the light bulb really started going off that, oh my gosh, there's a real opportunity here, and started getting serious about it and bringing the value that I was recognizing that I was giving really just as a side hustle, right? Using great products, doing a great job. And so a mentor, I shared with him what I just shared with you. He gave me a book. It's called E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And that's where I learned about franchising. That was about, 14 years ago now. Yeah. And so everything from that point forward was about creating a system and a process and proving out a business model. So I moved back home to Denver 11 years ago and launched Lime Painting. We began franchising in 2018, really just had our legacy owners until about Q4 of 2020. And then that's when we started growing. We basically tripled locations by the end of the year in 2020, out of all years to grow, right? And here in Q2 of 2024, we are coming up on 100 locations across 24 states. But Yeah, my gosh,
Wow.
I can't believe that, the next milestone is 20 years. Last year it was easy because I'm in my 15th season, but this year 16. The next round number is 20.
20?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I think I know you were trying to be quick and abbreviated for our video because we don't have an enormous amount of time. But boy, there was so many things that I learned that I know you skipped over. So I came away from first off, I'll put my lime glasses on that I got. How's that? And I got my lime ball here. So oh, and I was looking for the E-Myth book because it's up here on my shelf somewhere. I don't see it, but I also have your book right here with me. So anyway, it was some of the things I came away with. But I came away feeling like, number one, congratulations to you for having the moxie to stay in school and build a business to put yourself through school, because it would have been, I'm sure, much easier and probably crossed your mind to go back and go to junior college in Denver or something, and just go home and figure out what's next from there. But to do what you did and then go to the business school and everything else is a real testament, and it's certainly not surprising that we're sitting here. But as you talked about the mentorship that you went through and the thought process that you went through from turning this idea that became a painting business into the idea that became a franchise. I've been in franchising for 18 years, and I've not heard of anybody go through the exercise that you went through, which is all the various mentorships. And we don't have to get into, the specifics of that, but I think it's important to convey here that, my takeaway on your business and why I'm so excited to partner with Lime is it's a business opportunity where you're creating a partnership with your franchisees. You obviously really care about them. I do want to talk about the values-based piece of it because I think that's important. But it's almost like you've created this business opportunity for great people to partner with you, and painting just happens to be the vehicle. Is that fair? I mean, that's kind of how I walked away from thinking, I mean, yeah, it's a great business and the niche is unique. It's a service-based business, doesn't cost an arm and a leg to get going, and anybody with a little hustle and ability to follow the plan can do this. But it could just as easy be anything else. It's the idea of partnering with Nick and the team you've created. Is that fair?
it's a people business,
Yeah.
absolutely, and culture is huge. When you combine strategy with culture, it makes it pretty exciting as well. But the people piece is a huge part of it. And personally, that's why I love franchising so much. And there's a lot of ways to grow and expand. But what I learned in E-Myth, that book, was,
Mhm.
this idea of being in business with other business owners, not just in business by yourself, and being a gym rat and absolutely loving the locker room culture of sports. And so when I learned that there was a dynamic like that in business, that was a big reason why I wanted to franchise, was the people piece and the partnership part of the franchise model.
That's no, I get it 100%. And this is maybe a good place to do a little quick segue. And Gavri, let's introduce you, let you tell everyone a little about yourself, and maybe you can take for us an angle of, being more of the franchise guy. What, because for those of you out there, Gavri is going to be your first point of contact after me. Why do people want to look at Lime? I mean, there's 3,500, 4,500 franchises out there licensed in the U.S. at any given time. Why would people look at Lime? So if you could take that too, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yes. My name is Gavri Grossman. Head up the franchise development here at Lime Painting. So really what I do is for individuals who are interested in, entering the franchise business, I'm the first point of contact, like you said, John. And I'm really just here to educate you on lime painting, the differentiators, and whether lime painting would be a good fit for you. So I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Went to university in Washington State. And similarly to Nick, although I didn't start my own company, I did do luxury painting to put myself through school. I took a bit of a detour after college. I went into business side of things, B2B sales, licensing, and then came back to the franchising area, but several years ago. to build franchises, help people find them, and then came to line painting. Line painting is like nothing else. I mean, it's the first and only painting and home services business that focuses on that luxury market, focus on the high end market. So really, the clientele, the customer base is the people that want to pay more to get more, that have the confidence that they're going to get the quality that they're after, the customer service they're after, and really to facilitate those relationships with our clientele. Line painting, it's the proof is in the numbers. Like Nick said, in 2020 there were only a handful of locations open, and one of the toughest years for business, and particularly business growth. But that's when the growth really started, really catalyzed. So from 2020 with a handful, approaching 100 locations this year, the growth is due to the infrastructure that Nick and the team have built to support franchise owners. It's due to the culture. So both between us at Line Painting, the home office, along with all the other individual owners around the country, it's really a great community, great culture, and support all the way around.
Awesome. And I don't know if I even shared this with you guys, but I actually did some painting in college myself. So when I think I was a junior, I was at USC in Los Angeles, and there was a spring job fair or something. I walked by, and there was this booth for a company called Student Painters, and I ended up signing up, and I ended up spending my spring break in Vermont at a training while all of my fraternity brothers were down in Mazatlan, and ended up running a painting company over the summer, and was modestly successful with it, I think. So anyway, that's it's interesting. We all three had a similar, although mine was quite a bit before you guys. So so with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about who is a good candidate for Lime. What do you guys look for in a successful operator? What kind of things are they going to do on a daily basis too? I mean, that's a part of it, but and I don't know either way, Nick, if you want to take that.
Yeah, my gosh, mindset is huge. Empire builders, it is definitely the undertone of the mentality of our owners. They want to scale across multiple territories. And in fact, we are now recommending at least 2 territories, just because of that simple fact. It immediately creates an environment where you're scaling from day one, you're preparing to scale. And that is the point. Michael Gerber in his book talks a lot about working on the business, not in it. And so you may very well join Lime and be 100% owner operator, or be actively involved in the business and hiring for counterparts. But your role is not to do that indefinitely, right? It's to build a team, and through that team scale. And so first and foremost, that empire mindset, definitely that means great communicators, collaborators, leaders. But specifically, we are a sales, marketing, and quality control company. And so having that sales mentality and comfort, the skills, the aptitude to execute on sales, our sales program it's elite. And that goes back to my college days. Fortunately, the sales program that I was exposed to, top notch, and built specifically for high ticket, long-term relational sales. That sales program is an acronym. It's a process. So no matter the market, it's a consultative process where, so you're building teams, sales teams, high performance sales teams for that matter. But again, looking for empire-minded franchise partners. And one of the things that we're big on is the relationship amongst our owners, home office, and our owners. That is the strength of the franchise model. As a franchisor, we're going wide, right? Our franchise partners are going deep in their markets, and together we grow enterprise value. So that collaborative, empire-minded mentality, it's very much a collaborative atmosphere at Lime.
I love it. No, and I think it's unique in that a lot of service-based models, you have to not just buy two territories. You have to, to be an empire builder with a lot of service brands, you got to own a whole state or something. So I love the idea that that people can get started in this business without having to spend a fortune, and can grow, and not only can grow, or almost expected to grow to something substantial. So and I think it's important too to make sure that we hit on the contractor model, because a lot of people right now are watching this thinking, God, I got to run a bunch of painters, workers are hard to find, how am I going to do that? Can you guys elaborate, and maybe Gabri, you want to take this one, elaborate a little bit on how the contractor model works and how that you guys support that, because I think that was a big key piece too.
Sure. Yeah. So as Nick mentioned, the candidates we're looking for are those empire builders, sales, management, customer service, team builder focused type people. What that means is they don't necessarily, and frankly, we don't look for people that come from a contracting background. Now, having said that, the reason we don't is because we are that sales and marketing arm of a contracting business. We subcontract out all of the labor. What that does, it's a lean business model for the franchise owner. And it also facilitates a good relationship with those subcontractors. So the lean business model, you're not hiring and training a bunch of different painters. You're not buying equipment, maintaining that equipment. The subcontractors are doing that. What you're doing is you're finding the best artisans, the best subcontractors in a particular market, partnering with them and having them perform the labor for you. By focusing in the niche market that we're in the luxury high-end market, it really facilitates retention of those subcontractors, because you're able to give them work and jobs that they're probably not able to get on their own, at least most of the time. Right? So it's a really mutually beneficial relationship between the franchise owner and the subcontractors that you have on your roster. Again, facilitates that lean business model, mutually beneficial. That's what I like about line painting and franchising in general, anyways, is that it's mutually beneficial all along the value chain.
Yeah.
Yep. Mutually beneficial to the subcontract to the franchise owner, and as Nick mentioned, from the owner to the home office as well, and all the way down.
Yeah, and I love that you guys, somebody sitting here watching this going, okay, now I get that, but where am I going to find these people? And you guys even help with that throughout the launch process, right? Which is helping them find and vet those initial contractors.
Absolutely. So we've got a very robust training and certification model on everything that is line painting. When it comes to subcontractors, we go out pre-launch and help you find those subcontractors. We've got national strategic partnerships with the three biggest painting product companies, Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, PPG. Each one of those has a local dedicated sales manager that has a list of all the subcontractors in the area. They know who's good, who's not, and then we've got a very processized, standardized onboarding process. How do we find those subcontractors? How do we interview them? How do we onboard them? Giving them a probationary period, making sure that they live up to the quality that we're after. That's one of the biggest pieces of support that Line Painting Home Office provides to new owners, and ongoing support as well.
Sure. I love if you're watching this, you've heard the word sales quite a bit. And I think the other important takeaway is, you don't have to be a 20-year sales veteran to step into this. It's a sales process, and you have to hire salespeople who can fit into that process, right? But it's not about being, sure, you're going to have some salespeople who are already in the system or may come in that are successful, but I don't think that's the prerequisite, right?
Yeah, it's certainly not the prerequisite. So
Yeah.
again, very robust training and certification model on the standardized process that Nick and the team has developed.
Yeah.
That's proven, right?
Well,
So sales-minded individuals, to your point, doesn't necessarily mean being a sales executive for the past 20,
yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
But the willingness and the desire to go out and make it happen and follow the process that we've developed to help franchise owners be successful.
So one of the things I always, coach people on is, the mindset is, what is that mindset of the business owner? What's your why? Why do you want to become a business owner? And, every once in a while you get financial, but for most people, it's that control and freedom. I want to be my own boss and have the control over that. So, when you look at that and I tell people, well, if you're looking at any business that's worthwhile, you should be able to scale it to the point where it runs itself. Not 100%, but if you want to take 2 weeks and go on a European vacation, it runs itself for 2 weeks. If you need to take the day off or whatever, or you got to go host a charity golf tournament or something, the business is still running. There are many people who look for business opportunities that can come out of the gate that way. How do you guys feel about where Lime fits into that model differentiation on? Is it possible to be a Lime franchisee and come out of the gate, what we call in the industry, somewhat semi-absentee, but for people who maybe don't know what that means, meaning, is it possible to keep your day job and build a Lime franchise? And maybe Nick, I'll leave that with you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So in that case, you're going to be hiring a manager from day one. And so what we look for is folks that have experience building teams. That could be within your professional setting, within corporate America, or as an entrepreneur. But having that team building experience, as well as being having a higher capital level of investment. So we have an investment range of about 125,000 to 200,000. And so we want you to be on the higher range there. That's for a single territory. And so just being more capitalized and having team building experience. So if you're hiring a manager day one, but you don't have team building experience or not the proper capital infrastructure, then at least at Lime it wouldn't be a good fit. But if you check those boxes, you can do that absolutely. And then the second option is a little bit more of a hybrid, where you're wearing hats within the business and hiring for others. That's a very successful route to come into the business, learn the sales, learn the operations, learn the levers in the business, and work your way into fully working on the business. And then on the other side, you have complete owner operator. So 3 different versions within the business. Those are the different options as an owner.
Perfect. No, I think that it's important to know, as you consider the options within franchising, in particular here with Lime, and I assume why the viewer is watching this, that there are options. And in working with me, certainly we discuss fit. I know I trust and know you guys are going to discuss fit with them and aren't just looking for a franchise fee. You're really looking for partners, because you want them to be successful, then you're successful, and so that fit is important in how they want to run the business and what the time in their life is, right? For some people, different stages are going to be applicable for the different models in that. So
yeah, you're totally right. There's low, there's average, there's high performers. We are absolutely looking for high performers, right? Folks that are going to come in and really lean into the model, lean into support, lean into collaborating and networking with other franchise partners and folks within the organization. So yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. I think it's we could go on for an hour, and I know we have to wrap it up here at some point. So with that, I'll ask you guys to both share a couple last thoughts. If there's anything that is pertinent to somebody who's considering a franchise or considering Lime that we didn't talk about yet, please hit on that. And otherwise, then we'll wrap it up. Gavri, if you want to go first, and then we'll end up finish with Nick.
So I was gonna say, love Nick worked in the model, the lean in model right there, and that's what it's all about, right? It's leaning into the support. We've built the infrastructure to support owners. We've built the processes, we built the training, the certification, and really it's about leaning into that, allowing us and the existing owners to help you, help us help you, right? And that's, you do that by leaning in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's all well said. And we're not doing this by ourselves. We're doing this as an organization. So it's way past me, my goodness. So it has been a real honor to share the business and to see how the business has evolved. When I first launched and as a franchisor, the things that I was doing, okay, but it's been awesome to see franchise partners come in and really raise the ceiling and stretch the abilities of the model. It's been a lot of fun.
No, I saw that firsthand myself, and yeah, I'm a believer for sure. And the last thing I'm going to ask you to touch on as we finish, because I forgot about this earlier, is what Lime stands for, the values in the acronym of Lime. I'd love to hear you share with that, and then we'll finish.
Absolutely. So Lime stands for love, integrity, mission, and excellence. I think those are pretty straightforward, but the L there, right? It's a focus on people, and the M is our give back. So we have a nonprofit called Limelight Outreach, and these values, it's just the way we choose to show up and do business and interact with one another, our communities, the folks that we work with. And it's been fun seeing our values just come to life, and it's really created an infectious culture.
Yeah. I love the stories about how it even bubbles up into your decision making. It's like, well, what are our values tell us we should do in this decision? So I think that if you're watching this and you have any interest in starting a business, having a conversation with Lime Painting, and I do a couple of these interviews a month, and you'll see them all on my YouTube channel. So I talk to a lot of people, and I don't say this. I think this might be the first time I've ever said it. I think you owe it to yourself to have a conversation with Gavri, get started. Look at Lime as a business. Don't get hung up on the fact that it's painting. That's your vehicle to scaling something big for you and your family, and along with the support of Lime Painting and their team. So that's my impression anyway as a consultant. So guys, thanks so much for joining me today. If you would like to learn more, you can reach out through me, through my LinkedIn or the YouTube channel, ThatFranchiseGuy.com, and it'll be on the end screen here too, how you can reach me. So thanks again, guys, for joining me today. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Fantastic being here. Thanks for having us.